everybody? Welcome back to another episode of My Turn, My Truth. So when it's your turn, you tell
your truth.
All right. Well, I'm started off since I'm the one talking. I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Marielle.
The Rice Man.
Thanks, man.
Mata.
It's your girl Kim. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram at m.kennedi. Y'all know.
And together we are Extra Rice.
Extra Rice. That's
Extra
right.
Rice.
That's right.
Hashtag MTMT.
All right, so I want to start it off with a little conversation. Shout out to the Eagles, man. I want to start it off like that.
Birds.
Shout out to my guys. You know, we overcame a lot this year. We're going to the Super Bowl, but
Period.
also pray for them because they're playing the refs and they're playing Pat Mahomes and Taylor Swift and her fan base and Travis Kelce. So it's really a 1-on-4. So please be praying for the Eagles. So yeah, fly Eagles.
Agreed. Shout out to the Eagles on that. No, ladies, who y'all rooting for?
The Eagles.
The Eagles.
Okay.
Do y'all think
Fly Eagles fly?
I've been seeing a lot of stuff. Do y'all think some of that stuff is real? I mean, I said,
Some of
the
what
refs,
stuff?
like the rigging and stuff and all that, and the refs being on their side. I just said that for the fun of it, but
I talked to somebody about it today and literally told them we had a conversation about how the Chiefs just always find a way to win somehow. And he agreed with me. He said that they always win and the Eagles probably wouldn't win. And he's going for the Eagles.
A lot of people feel that way when it comes to the Kansas City Chiefs. They feel
or just sports in general.
Well, I'm particularly with this team.
Yeah.
And I feel like in sports it is a real thing. I feel like not necessarily that they just paying the refs off, but I feel like refs can have their favorite teams or favorite players and look a blind eye and not call a call that probably need to be called and just pretend they didn't see it.
Right. And I believe that every game there are missed calls. I think that it is natural for people to hate the team that wins all the time. We said the same thing about Brady and the Patriots when they were winning all the time.
But
we said the same thing about the Bulls and Michael Jordan. The Bulls and Michael Jordan when they were winning all the time. Yep. When Alabama was winning all the time, it was rigged. For all the teams that win all the time, we're tired of seeing people win, and we want to give them we can't say that they're just better than everybody else. We got to have a reason, and we're going to add on the rest. But there could be a real element in that. Like the ref could sway one call or two, but your team got to catch the ball. They got to run the ball. Right. They got to hit the shot.
Okay.
I don't care how many times Alabama win. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. But what you should say?
It's Roll Tide.
Let's just stop trying to sugarcoat everything. Sometimes some people and some teams and some things are just better than others.
No, the chemistry on teams are better on certain.
The team just better.
Like the Eagles.
The Chiefs are not better than the Eagles right now.
But like the Eagles with what's his name, Barkley. When he came, his chemistry on the team, it just like lit up the team. Yeah. So it's just like it is key players and key elements that make the team better.
I agree.
Yeah, babe. I agree.
Last thing about this, man, we beat Brady, so we can really beat Mahomes.
Cuz said Norman Kojak. Shout out Eagles.
Go Eagles.
If the Eagles,
you know your family.
If the Eagles can beat Tom Brady, we can beat Pat Mahomes. I ain't tripping. So
yeah.
I don't know now, but I love Eagles.
We beat the best football player.
But I'm gonna be holding my breath in that game.
But honestly, my wife was really. She loves Jaden Daniels too.
I do.
And I do too.
I saw a shirt.
I also support Jaden Daniels. If they beat the Eagles, I would have wanted him to go all the way.
Exactly.
We're excited that he's a rookie, a young black man, and he's only 22 years old, and he got his head on straight. He's really, poised during the game. He sit back and he watch. He don't overreact. He always lift up God. That's a good young man.
And hold on, I don't want to sound. Man, shout out to just the black quarterbacks in general, man.
Yes, sir.
We doing our thing, man. A lot of folks said we couldn't do it. We was too stupid, dumb. We too fast, and we just play wide receiver. Yeah. But hey, it's two of us in the Super Bowl. Power to the people. No offense to none of the.
No. We had Tom Brady was great.
Yeah, I respect Tom
what's
Brady.
What's his name?
Joe
Allen
Montana.
Out there.
I respect all the boys.
He real good.
And there was a stigma, just to Mackenzie's point. There was a stigma at one point that. black quarterbacks who were just running quarterbacks, athletic, but didn't have the acumen to perform the way they were supposed to in the pocket. Reading the right read. So there was this stereotype out. Now that it's not the same. It's broken. So
now we got to break the other
Happy for that.
Let's just break the other ones.
Break the other one.
Yeah. Okay. So that was
my little icebreaker.
All right. Mm-hmm. So let me go ahead and peel this scab off. I would like to talk about. We know that there were some people like Snoop, like Nelly, like Soulja Boy, who performed at the presidential inauguration the other day, and the nation has seemed to lose their minds one way or the other, or not lose their mind, respond one way or the other about those three artists in particular. And I want to know what everybody kind of think about them, whether or not they performed at the inauguration or not.
I would just say, oh my God. I would just say sometimes certain things is the wrong thing. I mean, the right thing at the wrong time is the wrong thing.
It's the wrong thing.
And sometimes a lot of us humans do stuff that's kind of distasteful in the moment. The way society is going, the way people are talking and people are chirping about this and that. Some things it would better off not to be done right then and there in the thick of it, in the heat. The hot block. I mean, the block's hot. What they say. That's what they say in the streets. If the block is hot, you kind of just stay off the block until it cool down a little bit. But if you go on the block when it's hot, you might get shot at. So right now, they're definitely taking some shots from certain people, a lot of certain people, and it just is what it is.
I feel like with the whole Snoop Dogg thing, I want to hear, what he has to say. Just because, and he doesn't owe anybody an explanation. That's not what I'm saying. I just would like to hear what he has to say because of the video that he posted in 2016 about other artists performing at the inauguration. I think that's why he's getting the clapback that he's getting, because didn't you just say?
We already talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just what changed your mind? We want to know.
Inquiring
mind.
Maybe he fell off the horse in Damascus, man.
Absolutely,
maybe donkey. He probably seen
maybe he did, but let us know some.
Yeah, I think
for sure.
And I'm sure Snoop probably haven't seen the footage, but I'm sure he's been trying to walk this back and give his point of view, and I haven't seen all of it. So he probably did give some context about why I haven't seen it.
Right.
But it is. I definitely want to know, because I saw your clips in 2016 about dragging people who perform for him and everything like that. For you just to turn around and do it, were you just not asked in 2016 to perform?
And that probably
so
is
you had a whole lot more to say
because
you didn't have any skin in the game or stake in the game. But now, when you were asked, now. Did it change because there was money on the line now for you or not? I want to know.
That is very true, and people are saying, what Nelly said about this not being a clan country and all of that. But his first response was, I will give it to Nelly. His first response to all of that was, no other president asked him to perform. That was his first response. So hey, you gotta give that to him. He answered your question. He said, no other president has asked me to perform. So and to them that would be an honor to perform for not Donald Trump, but I performed for the president of the United States.
And
I was asked to perform at a presidential inauguration. That's like a big thing. Everybody don't get asked to do that. So, it is what it is. But I think that I can't really speak on the whole Soulja Boy thing, but for them, I think it's based off what they were saying, what Snoop said before, and then what Nelly said about
during the interview.
During the interview about it not being a clan country and not being racism in the country. I think those were why those two are getting clapped back.
Right.
The clapback that they're getting.
I'm not sure I know that's much of the reason, but some people they're getting clapped back just because they performed for the inauguration, not for anything else, but because how could you do that? There's a lot of that, I think that those guys needed to be mindful that, they may have been used as pawns.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people feel like.
They drank the Kool-Aid.
They asked you guys because of your influence level.
Yep.
And if you were down, that you could influence somebody else to be down or choose sides or pick a side. So almost like they weaponized you to do that. So and if you weigh those I think I know who the culprit is.
Sorry, I was trying to tune in too.
Okay. Yeah, drop the volume down. You'll be good. Drop the volume down. But just to be mindful that they're using you as a pawn, and I think a lot of people are just generally upset that how could you be used as a pawn,
right? In a time like
or
this.
how could you give in?
Yeah, how could you?
How
give
could you
in?
sell your soul?
Like if you feel like if you still feel that way, then why would you give in even just for that money? Like you just told a whole bunch of people in the world something totally opposite than what you may believe and what you know is wrong and what you know can have a lot of damage, and you just kind of put your foot in to support that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what I was where I was going with it, Marielle, when me and Marlon was having the conversation, because it's the fact of who you are and what you said, and then you turn around and you do the exact opposite. And the fact of the matter is, I understand that it's their decision, it's their business 100%. Decision, whether it was transactional or not. It's their business decision, but just like I was saying earlier, in which your business decision comes consequences, just like any other business. So if you want to go out there and you want to perform at the inauguration that that may not be very popular for people who buy your music, then there may be some fallout behind that. Because just because that was your decision, then it's also those people's decision on whether they're going to buy your music or not. So you can't get upset about what their decision is based off what your decision was.
Right.
May I say that yes, Snoop and Nelly have lost.
But I'm still listening to Snoop.
Have lost.
I ain't listening to Nelly.
I am. Dilemma goes hard. But though they have lost a lot of their black support, they are gaining some other support from the other side.
That's what I said with this tape.
It was a business move. They're like attention, good attention or bad attention. If I feel like I'm falling off a little bit, now I'm just Ashanti's husband and baby daddy.
But I
get my name back out here.
That's what I'm saying. He will.
But I will say this too. Now, a lot of people probably would think that this is a smart business move because money is green.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. For money, yes.
So whereas they may have tapped out on the other side,
oh yeah, they're
gaining a whole nother audience now.
Right.
And so I mean, hey, it probably was a smart decision for them.
And for all the people that don't know, Dr. Dre just dropped a new CD.
A CD.
Album.
CD, I know.
I dated myself. Let me hit myself right there. A new LP.
A cassette tape?
Yeah.
Maybe?
A new album.
A disc?
An album, honestly, is the record. So we still can say that. We just can't say CD. But it's called an album still. He dropped a new album. Snoop is featured on, several of those songs and the single. So this is a marketing and promotional tool for Snoop Dogg as well. He has a new album out with Dr. Dre. So it may have been a business decision. I want to go as far as saying that I'm not mad at any one of those guys that perform.
Me neither. Because it takes too much energy to be mad anyway.
At the end of the day, it's business. It is business, but it's not all business. I will have to say this. Let me change that.
Yeah.
It's not all business, but it is business. And when we look at ourselves, for all the people that are mad, when we look at our business and where we work, how we work, no matter where your job is, there's an element there that's probably not great.
Yeah.
And you still go make your money and go home.
Right.
And it's probably a boss that you have that you don't like, but you go still show up and
don't like. You might have a boss that's immoral and unethical, but you still go to work every day. And there will be people that say, how could you work for this person? How could you work for her? How could you work for him? I couldn't do it. And that's kind of what this is. Yeah. So
it really not, but
it kind of is. If you're working for somebody you think that is morally or unethical or racist for that matter, but you still go to work because you got to feed your children or yourself or your family,
Yeah.
There will be people that criticize you for what you doing.
I think.
But it's just the fact that we get the chance to get on our soapbox and criticize everybody else and don't look the introspective portion. They don't look at ourselves and our life like we don't live in a glass house. Our business is just not out there like Nelly's and Snoop and everybody. It's just local. So we get a chance to thumb wrestle and say what we want to say and not have anybody peer into our situation.
I just feel like everybody is gonna do what's best for them. You wouldn't do it because that's not what's best for you. If you were in that position, it's hard to say what you wouldn't do right now. Everything and everybody, I'm not going to say that, actually. I'm not going to say everybody got a price because some people, I believe that I wouldn't do it. Now, if I was up there in that situation and looking at how many numbers, I don't know.
Looking at that income ratio, you might be like,
because Snoop Dogg and Nelly and Soulja Boy aren't making a lot of songs right now.
Snoop making a lot of money a lot of other ways. He's in that bank. Please put him on a whole nother level.
Yes,
but we don't know what his expenses are. We don't know what he's doing.
That's what I'm saying.
We
don't. Not making a lot of songs right
you're
now.
Right.
That everybody, because yes, they on the commercials and on this stuff, but when everybody's streaming your music, I feel like that's a little bit different. When everybody's streaming it, and now y'all got some other people streaming it.
Hosting the Olympics.
They did.
He's an influencer. Like he's not just a songwriter anymore. He's an influencer. He's on the soap commercial. He's on Call of Duty. I played with him on Call of Duty.
You play with Snoop? Yes. You be talking to him?
No, he's my skin. Like my character is.
Oh, Lord. Okay. I thought you were like playing.
She did it herself right there. You gotta hit that.
But I would lie to y'all and say, if Trump tuned in right now, whoever wanted to tune in, like. I'll tell my truth. I would love to have it. I will be there. I will be on the flight right now.
You'll be on what they call Air Force. What is it?
Air Force One.
Yeah. What?
If he said be there on Saturday, I'll be there on Wednesday.
I don't know.
And I hate this. I mean,
I ain't rushing for that.
I rush for what's going to come after that.
Yeah, because I get to promote my agenda on the biggest platform in the world.
Everybody's watching. Everybody's going to watch.
And I think that's a lot of things that's wrong with our people. I feel like we play too small sometimes.
Right. And don't play the long game.
And we don't play the long game, or we can't look past certain circumstances to get ahead. It's just like we limit ourselves based on things that has happened to us in our generation, things that, are trying to be, pent against us as far as oppression and strategies and things of that nature. And we don't look at the ways, because, my prayer is for God to order my steps and show me, strategies on how to move forward, because even with Trump being the president, it's still an opportunity to make money. It's still an opportunity to grow wealth. Yeah. It's still an opportunity to build a business. And we just have to figure out what those strategies are. And a lot of times by closing a blind eye and looking a different way. And as many things as I don't like about, what's going on, I stay in tune to what's going on, because that's going to help me make my business decisions.
Right.
And I just want to say this. It's in the same ballpark, but that word racist is just it's big. That's a big word, And how do I say this? I feel like there's different. Well, there's not different types of racists. You can be a racist, but
everybody can be a racist.
I believe there's some racist white people or some racist black people that like black people.
Yeah, I know some.
I totally feel like that they do. They like their type of black people. They're friends.
But that's not like
absolutely
the tokens. So like if Marielle loves me and hates Morgan, she's racist. She just loves me because I love her. I mean, that's how it is. And that's how I feel.
And there's a lot. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And there's a lot of people like that.
I disagree.
No, speak.
I agree
Caucasian
to that.
lady, I need you to speak your truth.
I agree to that.
Ooh, she got
There's a lot of people who are like, I got a black friend.
Yeah.
I got a black grandmother. But you don't like anybody else, so.
Right.
Oh, I use that one now. I have a white sister.
And
I'm just saying that because
it can go back, but it can go back to that video that Marlon was showing me, where it says, the disparities between blacks and whites, and then the guy, and it was a white dude that was on TikTok Reels, whatever it was, and then he kept asking, you know how they do the skits between himself, and then he kept going, black fathers are not in the house. Why? Because they probably can't take care of the children. Why? Because this. Why? He kept going, why? To make him think of the real reasoning behind it.
Right.
So with that whole thing is, okay, well, I have a black grandmother. Okay. And whom else? And I have a black sister. Okay. And whom else? Oh, I have a black friend. And whom else? And the same thing with black people. Because, I mean, a lot of times we do look at the white people like, okay, well, she has a black friend or a black husband, and did the same thing with the black people. Oh, she has a white friend or a white, because it's the same on our side too, because we are around who we're around, and we are around the people that's most like us,
right?
Like, and that look like us.
I'm not racist at
absolutely
all.
No, my son, he's not racist.
A white, but if it was at the lunch table, if it's a group of blacks and a group of whites, I'm gonna sit with the blacks because that's who I'm comfortable with. On the football team,
and that's just
because at first glance, that's who you connect with, right? Because that person looks like you. Too. But I have one of my friends at my civil sister at work, and she know who she is, and she's white, and I love her to pieces.
I would tell my white friend to come with the black folks.
And she comes.
I was gonna say I would gravitate to her.
And she comes over to me, and she'll just tell me out the blue, "I love you," and I'm like, "I love you too." And it's a really genuine. It's really a genuine connection there. So it's just like a lot of times it's about who you are around,
absolutely,
who you expose yourself to, and getting to know people of different nationalities,
right? And I think that racism falls under a prejudice. When we all have prejudices, whether we have prejudice against, if you're in the workforce, you don't want to hire young people because you don't think that they work hard.
Ageism.
It's a prejudice against younger workforce.
Ageism.
Age.
Gender, sex,
religion,
marital status.
Yeah, racism is just about skin color, but everybody has some sort of prejudice.
And you alive, you say you don't.
Right. That part. So
because I know a lot of people with us, as soon as we say we go to North Highland, oh my Jesus. You go to that white church. Why is it a white church? It's a whole bunch of black people in there. Oh, because my pastor is white. That's why it's a white church.
It's what you first see.
My church is
multicultural.
It's multicultural and diverse. And then sometimes it tick me off when people say I go to the white church, not because they saying it's a white church, because I know that it's way more than that. But
it don't blow me. You go to a white church, I go to that church. Yes.
Right. So I think one thing I did want
I'm sorry. Okay. And my church is North Highland. Y'all can come join us on Sundays.
Yes,
we have 8:30, 10, and 11:30 service.
But they say we're serving God and everyone is everything. Yeah.
Right. So one other point I want to bring out about the whole whoever performed the inauguration, it feels like since 2016, just the feel to me that our country has been split like never before. I remember when Bush and Clinton was running against each other, and I mean there are a lot of times we've been on. I'm 50 plus years old, so we've been through several presidents. But now, if who you perform for splits us, even in our own country, I think then Satan is winning. It whenever we divide for something like who you voted for. Or your political affiliation, then we lose.
But see,
we are allowing the propaganda. We're allowing people who want to see division, people who want to invoke all these emotions to the point where we don't talk to each other anymore. They're winning when we stop listening to Snoop or them or Nelly. We don't fool with them anymore. I'm not buying them anymore because of their political affiliation. I think we're allowing the dark side, to so to speak, to win. We can disagree politically and still coexist and be okay. There are a lot of people that are going to vote for the other side, whether you vote Democrat or Republican. you know their political affiliation. Those same people will open the door for you. Say, yes, ma'am. How you doing? Here you go. How's your day in the morning? If you need some people who will donate to your cause, some people who will do things as a person, they're still people, regardless of what they think. So a lot of those same people who vote the other way than you politically are some of the best people you can be around.
You could, and I agree with that to a certain extent. And I said it, and the reason I said to a certain extent, because in 2016, we were still like that. And Trump was president. Okay, but when 2020 came and the insurrection came, that's when the Great Divide really happened. Because
and COVID, right?
And COVID, that's when it really truly happened and truly start looking at the political affiliation. And then that, I felt like it was purposely done because like militias are created that way. People stand up against the government that way. It's just like a lot of little tactics and a lot of little strategies that was slowly being seeped into our democracy, end up seeping in because it was not always like that. Like you pointed back to Bush and Clinton, but it even was with I forgot who Obama beat, but
Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney. Thank you. And then and even with Hillary and freaking Trump, it was like that.
Right.
Until 2020 when he didn't win. Here it comes. And it started before then.
It did.
Yes, he tried to steal the election and all this stuff.
So I'm just saying, I mean, and I agree with you. We are letting the strategies divide us more versus saying, okay, we see what's going on and we need to unite.
Absolutely.
Right. We don't have to allow that strategy to win.
Correct.
That is my issue. We've never, in the past, whoever you voted for, a lot of people just didn't even tell you. You know, and we didn't care. We went along. You were my neighbor before. You're my neighbor now. You need some sugar. You need to borrow some such and such. You need one of my tools.
You wash my house when I'm out of town.
We moved on, but now I just feel like the biggest driving force is racism.
Well,
because it's fuel that flames the fire.
Right. It is the one, and I feel like that is the divide, the biggest divide. There are some on one side that's saying there is no racism. It's over. That was in the past. Now everyone has equal opportunity.
That's also
up under this. And now, why are you still complaining? Get yours. And there's other people saying that, hey, now you're saying that because you didn't go through what we went through. You haven't been affected like we've been through. Your ancestors haven't been affected. Your wealth hasn't been stolen. Your lives haven't been stolen. You haven't been, put in jail for things that you didn't do, given longer sentences. So of course you would think there is no racism. It's not a Klan's country. It's equal opportunity because you did not look through that lens. You did not live that way. You were living over here and you wasn't profiled the way I was. Mm-hmm. So we got one people saying like, guys, get over it. And we got guys saying, how can we get over it when it's still present in here right now? Right. Those two elements are clashing. And I think because I'm on the black side, I'm feeling like, guys, yes, there is still racism. There are still racists. There are still people that if they can oppress you to get ahead, they will. And they want to.
Or to stay ahead.
Or to stack the deck so they can win because they're the majority and there's a minority.
Yeah.
The minority will never be able to beat a majority. Yeah. It's very seldom that'll ever happen. So I feel like we understand now the cards. They're going to be like this. They think like this. There's some people who think like this. Now it's time to burn the candle from the other end because we can open businesses now.
Yes.
We can choose where our money going now. We can open schools or hospitals or whatever. If there's, of course, there's still barriers to that. It's harder for us to do it, but we've proven that we can do it. We have a business. I know friends that have a business. There are people with businesses. My thing is, as long as we continue to use racism as the reason for our current situation or not improving our current situation, there's always going to be this struggle and dynamic pull between both sides, and there's always going to be, hey, I would do more. And not everybody says this, but I could be better if it wasn't for the man. If I wasn't oppressed, I can do this. That mindset limits you. Absolutely. And this is me on my side, hoping that there's a set of people that get better by saying that I understand there's racism, but that can't stop me from being the best version of the best version of myself.
Okay, and I very much agree with that. But I think, and this is not like how I feel, because we have just had this conversation about how it's never going to happen with them acknowledging or apologizing. We know it's not going to happen. So we could get over that part because they're just not going to do it. But I think, and what I hear a lot of Black people say and how they feel is, it seems like that our Black history is the only thing, like, they're trying to erase that they did wrong. Like, they're not saying that the Jews need to get over the Holocaust.
But they just say it's not real.
Yeah, that too. But it just seems like now, because we still learn about the Holocaust in school. There's a lot of stuff about Black history that we do not learn.
The Jewish people disagree. They said that it's like that because they feel it on that side.
Right.
We don't know what
that's how
true. What people say about them, like they know what people say.
Yeah, that's world history, not American.
But that's the thing, and that's where I was going to go with it. Everybody feel it from their standpoint,
from their perspective, right?
So, of course, we are going to feel like hit when racism come up, because we know racism is against our skin color, but racism goes more than just our skin color, because it can go against Marielle's skin color.
I think a lot of people don't understand that anybody can be racist. But what that deserves to thank.
No, but what I will say is that I do agree that we have to have open dialogue, and we have to have mixed friendships. We have to have almost mixed families, and we have to not only have them, but we have to be willing to congregate together. Absolutely. And have conversations so that we are burning on both ends. And it is harder for us, but my thing is, for our people, it's like, okay, well, why would you limit yourself? You are a great people. We are a resilient people. So it's just like, why would you limit yourself, or why would you even give anybody else the satisfaction to say what you can or cannot do? That itself should be enough motivation. Just like with Jalen Hurts. I was reading a thing on him, and he was saying that, that he allowed the hate and the negativity to fuel him. He allowed that to make him even better because they think he can't. So just because you think I can't, I am. I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if we all took that mentality, Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, if we all took that mentality in making this work, we will not only be the greatest country ever, but it is not one country that can come up against us, because we have so many people coming. Well, we have so many people coming here.
They used to.
I was like, well, wait, okay, bad timing. But we have so many people that's here, and they come here for that dream. They come here because they know that this is a place where there are no limits.
Yeah, and if you work hard, you can be something.
Yeah, and so if we have other people thinking that, then why do we put limits on ourselves, or why do we excuse a way of what we can actually accomplish?
I just want to say, at one point, everybody having different opinions and different views is what drove our country, and it made our country what it was. That everybody could come here, and you can be you. You can be you. You can like what you like. You can like what you don't like. I think, like Mackenzie's saying, like, when everything is driven by feelings, sometimes we get in our own way because we don't allow our feelings to. We allow our feelings to like take over.
Right,
but feelings are not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that you have to know how to operate within your feelings.
But you can't let your feelings cripple you.
You have to have a healthy outlet with feelings, bro.
People let their feelings cripple.
Feelings can destroy marriage, friendship, relationships.
It absolutely
can destroy anything.
That's why you have to have. That's why you have to have emotional intelligence. Right. You have to know why you feeling that way, what's triggering you to feel that way, and you have to make sure that you don't react like if you're able to notice those things, you got to make sure that you don't react out of that feeling. But a lot of times, of course, when you're close to a subject or a person or passionate about a certain thing, it's harder than not.
Right, because I like that book. I have like mastered the art
of not giving an F.
I just don't. My feeling. You will have to do something incredible. It has to be so crazy for me to get me out my body. I'm not. You have to do something absurd to get me just riled up, because I'm just gonna look at you like a deer in headlights.
Right.
I just think we should take that same feeling when we have it against our own people, that I don't care what she feel about me, I don't care what he feel about me, and apply that to everything. Like, it is going to be hard, just like to know that you're being judged and not liked because of something that you can't control. But at the end of the day, I don't care, because 9 times out of 10, I don't like you either. That's just that.
So cancel culture, before you cancel Nelly and Snoop and whoever. Just before you unblock them and
oh baby, they done already got carried
again. Like my mom said, just let them hear what they got to say first. Then if you don't like that, then block them.
Because the way I look at it, like, some things I understand because I try to understand them. Like,
that's cool.
Like if and I understand how the major media outlets who have an agenda, because they are politically based, when they have an agenda, they're good at what they do. Mm-hmm. And if you only look at one news affiliation, then you're gonna get a skewed picture of some things out there. Right. If you every time you watch TV, this one news channel shows you black people killing black people, even though at the same time white people are killing white people, and Mexican
that don't happen. How dare you?
And other things, or they show you the bad things. There's a riot. The cameraman takes a bunch of footage. I have multiple races over here looting this building, and it's a bunch of black people looting this building, and a bunch of white people looting this building. They could choose to show the black people edit of them looting that building, and to choose not to show the other, and give you a perception that look at these black people. And we promote shows, we put shows out there. The most of our big shows that are doing well, Snowfall, Power, drug dealing shows, BMF,
Housewives,
Housewives that are fighting, people fighting. Those are big episodes when they fight, And now there's a picture out there. You have news showing you that these are black people. We have all of our movies, sitcoms, because the old shows like Family Matters, the Cosby Show, that show wholesome black families, a different world, showing black kids at school, at college, performing well. They're not big shows anymore. Right. So now there are certain people that have a perception of black people because that's what we're showing, not that that's what is everywhere, and they're showing it disproportionately to what other races are doing. Now there's a perception formed. And if you grew up under that, how can I be mad at you for thinking that we're this type of people?
And that's the key to communication.
But I get what you're saying, but then here's the thing, because there become a challenge with that, right? So if you're thinking that we are these type of people, then you as another race, if that's already in your mind, why would you even take the time a day to talk to me and trying to see what type of person I really am?
And for this reason, that now it's time to police ourselves, the type of shows we create about ourselves, police our music.
Yes. Be the main ones that say that, and then be the main ones that still listen to it.
Making it is different. I mean, sometimes you gotta take baby steps. You can. I used to make it. I'm not gonna make it anymore, but I still like this artist. That's a transition. You're moving forward, but we have to start understanding that we're victimizing ourselves by the music, the movies, the shows, and everything that we create about our own selves.
Right.
That we're bringing undue stress, and we're bringing a stereotype.
That's it.
And then, but a lot of times, especially in the music industry, when they go and trying to change and make or even not even trying to change, or they go and this is the type of album that I want to put out. Oh, that's not good for sales. We need to show you this way.
But now we do music independently.
Yeah,
now, because of the social media platforms, we blow up by our own.
And we don't know the rappers. We don't know the Migos GM. Like, we don't know none of these big white folks to do. We just see the face. Like, they just want the money. Their face is no face, no case.
Right.
Them. So since all the big healthy white folks, like New Edition, you ain't gonna know who they are.
Right.
You gonna know who New Edition is because they gonna be on the front row. So I mean, that's fine.
Right.
That's part of their text.
And at some point, though, we gotta get to the point where it's hard. It's easier said than done. Of course, we got to get to the point where I'm not. If that's the way it's gonna be, I'm not doing that.
And nobody ain't gonna turn down the money. I'm sorry, but especially when you're coming from the ghetto, they not gonna do that.
That's
my thing is,
easier
guys,
said than done.
That I'm not saying that element of racism or things are not out there. I'm just a big person, a big proponent of. Control the things you can control.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We can control what we do.
That's right.
I can't control how you think. So I know there's a burning the candle at both ends that will make it happen faster.
Yeah.
But if we just said, hey guys, we can do things ourselves to improve our situation, that improve the outlook on us, that improve our quality of life, that improve our kids' quality of life, that will protect their ear gates to what they hear and what they see, and allow them to see something different, push them toward this avenue. There are things that we can do that we don't need help from white people or a government to help us with. Is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that it's not that I want y'all to come at me and say, Marlon, you don't understand what they do to us. Yes, I do. I do. But I know that I can fix me before they can fix me.
And then it's bad that it ain't no them and us, because a lot of times, and I saw this one thing on TikTok with the whole 92% thing.
No, you see everything everywhere.
Yeah, I do.
TikTok.
But no, because I watch educational stuff on TikTok.
So,
but anyway, I saw this where this 92% thing percentage of this black narrative was put out by black women. It was saying how 92% we go just sit back and drink our coffee and just chill, and we're not gonna march, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna do this, we're not gonna support, we're not gonna da. And then this one white girl came on and she was like, well, hey, I'm part of, I voted for such and such too. So, hey, I want to be in with that. And they were like, no. And I responded to her comment, the white lady, and I said, look, thanks for being an ally. We need each other because we can't do this by ourselves. So it ain't the fact that what they do against us. You have people that is of opposite complexion that feel the exact same way you feel about certain situations and is willing to group with you and help you push forward.
Right. And the Civil War couldn't have been won without help, of course.
Exactly.
Martin Luther King's dream couldn't have been helped. Couldn't have happened.
Ending of slavery
without help.
Underground Railroad.
Right. So for all of our allies, I appreciate you, because one thing a racist hates more than a black person
is
a white person who loves a black person.
Yes.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Right.
And vice versa. So, and racism does go both ways.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
And we just look at it
black
like,
folks
let's be honest. We look at it like, well, I understand why they're racist, because look what happened to them.
That don't mean it ain't racism. It just means I understand why.
It just means that looking from their lens, I would be apprehensive to deal with you on some things too. But it's still racism.
Absolutely.
And I want us to control the thing. We can control if we divide over something. That's something that we have a choice over. And if we want to divide from other rappers who who voted this way or people who did this, we have a choice that we can let ourselves be divided.
But we can also control if we unite over something too.
And we sure can.
All of it is a choice. It's just depending upon what type of choice you want to make.
That's exactly where I was going. I agree with you.
When we do unite, it's something serious.
Yeah.
So. And then that's one thing that has always unified us. When we got together on one common cause, we can move anything. We can move mountains. We can do things. We make change. We drive change. When we're all together, and the same thing about our country. Absolutely. When we unify over something, we're strong.
Like the whole Tuscaloosa boat fight.
Hey, the Alabama brawl.
We got to it.
I just think, and one of the most beautiful events I ever personally went to was the march that we did, the George Floyd. After all that happened, just to see so many people that normally don't like each other,
of different races.
Yes, of different races that normally don't like each other, of different gangs, of different everything coming together for one common cause. It really is a really beautiful thing.
Shout out to Cameron Yancey, bro. One of my white friends. You was there with me. So I appreciate you, bro.
And I know some people are gonna come at me and say, Marlon, you're telling your people, like they're telling their stance is, Marlon, their stance is get over it. There is no racism anymore. That was old. I'm not gonna apologize to you for something because I've never had slaves. I never did this. I didn't do it. So you can't get an apology from me for something that I didn't do. But there's opportunities for everybody now. Why can't y'all get y'all's? And by me saying what I said earlier about policing ourselves and moving, we can make moves by ourselves. Some people are going to say, Marlon, you're saying the same thing that they're saying. But you know how you have a sibling that y'all can fuss all day long.
Absolutely.
I can say this about you, but you can't say this about me.
Absolutely.
I know we need to do more for ourselves. But I know that there's some systems against us. And I know that. But I just feel like if we unite and we have a paradigm change, a mind change, we can we can progress to a better place.
Right.
Yeah, we're standing in our own way.
As a black man to a white man, to black to white or whatever, I don't want an apology. I just want you to understand. I understand where you came. I understand where you came from. I understand why you say get over it. You had everything your whole life.
Right.
You have the country. If I was white, I'd probably be like that too. I understand. I just want you to understand where we coming from.
But
to not agree to disagree. We just need to agree that we.
But the fact of the matter is, it's hard. It's hard to understand something that you've never been a part of.
Try to understand.
And it's not that it's impossible. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm saying that it's hard, and it's hard to understand it to the level of how we feel. Mm-hmm. Like when people tell us. And I find it offensive when someone says for me to get over what my ancestors went over. And I was never a slave. No, I wasn't. However, my granddaddy was born in 1925. 1925.
Picking cotton.
So my thing is, and I know and love my grandfather. He was a very good man. It was a great part of my life. Everybody in the small town that I lived in, they knew Mr. Roy D. White. I thought my grandfather was a hero my whole entire life. For real. I thought my kids have a great relationship with my grandfather because they were like 21 years old and 17 years old. 18. Before he passed. So they had a very long history. And saying all that to say, when you look through the eyes of your ancestors, when you look through the eyes of your grandmother Nanny, she was born around that time. Mm-hmm. You know, when you have those strong pillars in your family and you can feel the pain, there is a connection with your family members. Right. When my son and my daughter, my daughters now, and my husband is not around me and I'm worried, I can feel. Yeah. I can feel when something is off. Yeah.
Right.
That feeling is always there. And it's hard to hear you was never that, or you didn't go through this, or you didn't go through that. I may not have, but we have people that have bled and died for the rights that we have. Yeah. So that's why we take it so personally.
But that's my thing.
Still there. So
I was going to say too, but that's my thing too. Like, white people would cause hell if that was ever said to them. So first of all, not fair to say it.
My thing is, I can't go past my great grandfather. I don't know nobody. It's white. My memory is I don't know anybody. I don't know my ancestors. I don't know my lineage. I don't know. Mary probably tell me who her great granddad's dog name was. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that stuff is white from us. We don't even know. So when we get a chance to support.
But your granddad.
He can tell you.
He gonna tell you, and we got someone in family, but no, that's important because you keep part of history. So my thing is, white people want to be all, and not all. I'm not talking about anybody white. I love white people. My daughter, she's white. Look,
I understand.
I know that she's racist. No, I'm for real. No, I'm not. But you want to be dedicated to freaking statues and stuff like that, and your heritage and your culture and stuff like that. But you don't want us to be dedicated to our ancestors.
Right. But this goes. My dad said
either.
though.
But anyways, I'm out.
Sometimes as black folks, as the minority, and any other minority, we gotta learn how to take the hit. A lot of times, again, self-policing. We say we want communication, this communication, that is. It's hard for you to understand. A lot of times we don't give them a chance to understand because we're too busy to block and unfollow and turn around. It gives you a hard time to. So how can you try to understand and say, well, it's hard for them to understand, but we never give them a chance to understand.
Correct. Right. No, and it's all about delivery. It's all about presentation. So
you can't just block and follow and unfollow and not talk to everybody you see, or you see somebody that got a Trump shirt on, just turn around and walk the other way. Like, no, that's not how we gonna talk about nothing. Communication is communication. We have to talk.
I want to say also to what Dad said, to go back to the self-policing, is when we try to self-police each other, it goes, you're being uppity. You're Uncle Tom. You're an Oreo. You're trying to be white. You're trying to do this. And it's just like,
you forgot where you came from.
Yeah, sometimes it is embarrassing. And sometimes I look at some people, I know some people I can look at right now and be like, I know why the white folks think that. Because you are that. That is
you are that.
You are giving them the bullets to shoot you with.
Right.
They got the gun. You handed them the bullets.
Mary wanted to say something.
Well, it's taking it way off track now because it was to what you said.
Go ahead.
It was you had said that like white people won't ever truly understand because we don't go through it. And that's true. There are things that like Mackenzie can tell me, but I will never feel like, I can feel his pain because I'm married to him and because,
connected to him.
Because I care. Mm-hmm. But if, we're talking to people who don't care at all, like they're never going to understand and they're not going to try. But that's something that as white people, like you have to be empathetic. You have to empathize. You have to kick back that wall and truly just like dive deep and ask questions and get in that. But yeah, like I said, like I will never truly understand his pain, but I do have to be aware that I will never understand truly and fully. So like I can never minimize his pain or minimize his stories at all, because it's his truth.
Right. But as a how do I say this? I could have went the easier route. I could have dated somebody that looked like me and had probably an easier time, a way easier time than I have now. But I understand how you feel, and I understand like your effort. That's why I chose you. Because I could have. It could have been way.
But what I heard her say, and this is the thing that I need everybody to get, it's the connection. Mm-hmm. You can feel him because of the connection you now have with him. Because you love him. It's because you love him. Yeah. But connections are not just between husband and wives. 100%. No, and I'm not saying that because of what you're saying. I'm to add on to what you said.
Yeah.
Connections are also with friendships.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Connections are also with associates. Yeah. That they may not be as deep.
Oh, 100%.
But that's where a conversation can start because it's a door opening.
Yeah.
But and you have to find a way to connect. Because even in evangelism, when Jesus was doing evangelism, he found a way to identify and to connect with the people before he eventually just start evangelizing. And I feel like it needs to take a stance to a part of evangelism. Right. When we do make those connections and we do open up and we do need to start having real, hard, and honest conversations.
100%.
And I feel like in talking about that, and I'm always looking like I'm coming against, mine. When people want to listen to us, we have to learn to express ourselves without just being completely angry. And I know we're angry, but we have to learn to use our words and articulate what we're feeling. And I think because if I want to listen to you, you have a captive audience. then you're yelling and screaming, and you can no longer really articulate yourself because you're just mad. I can't gain anything from that.
I need you blocking that because then you're like, why are you yelling?
Tell me what you're going through and why you feel that way. And if I can't do it, then what are we talking about?
That's true.
There are times that we're going to have to practice how to articulate what I'm feeling. I need to talk to you. Help me with my words. I think we have the wrong people talking a lot of times. We have celebrities and music artists talking and they can't articulate themselves and they're talking for all of us because people hear them because they have a bigger platform.
They have influence, yes.
We have to absolutely start making reels and making social media trend, making things that are what we really want to say. Not just what we feel, but we have to make those feelings come out in words that are understandable for people to understand us.
I think I always have trouble with this because from my side, I'm like, no, that shouldn't have to be that way. Like if you are angry about a situation, you should be able to express that and not be like, oh, well, you don't have to come at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it should totally be the opposite because there's so many years where your feelings were suppressed that like now that you have the opportunity to speak about it, you should be angry and you can be angry. Because
but I agree and I don't agree at the same time. And because you can be angry and still display yourself where it's understandable, or you can be angry when then you have to put yourself on pause for a second, regroup, and then go out there and speak. 100%. Because a lot of times when you're emotional, you really don't talk. You talk erratic. You really don't.
It's not rational.
It's irrational. It doesn't make sense. And if I'm trying to get someone else to understand my plight and what I went through, I'm not probably going to be doing a greater job at it as if I was sober in my mind. Yeah. Because to me, I feel like the angerness and the passion, it's going to take over. Yeah. Because of how deeply we feel about what is, and like I said, but I do agree. I agree that people need to see that anger, but we got to learn how to put it in a different format. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And I'm gonna say this, and I know that this is gonna definitely ruffle some feathers. Just be honest, and I'm not even talking about for the racist people, but just be honest. If somebody was mad at you for something that they're mad at you personally, and you personally didn't do that to them, you would be upset. Like, I didn't do that to you. Like, you're mad at me. You're going off on me. I didn't do nothing. I didn't do anything but walk down the street. Like, that would, and that's what goes back to Black people can be racist because you're coming at all white people, and they just like, some people are just really like, I really didn't do nothing.
Or I'm not like that.
Right.
I'm really not like that.
Right.
But,
and so...
and in those same times when there is a stereotype coming out, your silence is complicit.
Yes,
that's the issue we have with a lot of people who say, look, man, hey, I don't feel like that. But when other people who do feel or saying things about that, you don't say anything.
And we look at you like
your silence speaks louder than words.
But a lot of times it's hard for people to stand when they're standing alone or feel like they're standing
because
alone.
Then they will be the minority. And that's what we're saying.
Yes.
That's what we're saying. It's not easy when you're the majority.
When you're the minority.
So when you have to take a side or you take an unpopular stance, it's
opinion.
The minority stance.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the frustration that we have when we have that. So you telling me, Marlon, I watched that last night and I didn't agree with it. But who else are you going to tell that other than me?
Right.
You know, are you going to talk to your family, your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your fraternity, whoever you hang around? 100%. Will you tell them that same thing that you just told me?
Them just me ain't going to help nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're my homeboy, I probably know you don't like it. Like, I get it.
But it's just like, it's like that we all, capital ALL, need to do work. All of us need to do work. And we can't get into who has the most work to do.
Right.
Just know that we all need to do work to move forward. And just to make it better for everybody. Because right now, I'm sorry, and it ain't even about Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. It's gonna be about real soon the haves and the have-nots. Those gonna be your two categories:
the higher class and the lower class.
So we that's not at that 1% or that half percentage. We need to really put our minds together to see how we can get over that way.
Right.
We just have to have genuine love for the Lord.
That's true.
One of the strongest scripts, one of the strongest quotes in the whole Bible is, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do.
Hey.
And then the Bible also teach you that their work starts first with you.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
That
if we can't fix our own heart, and if we start there and fix our own heart, our own situation, look inward before we look outward, then we'll continue to be where we are on both sides.
And if you read your word, almost every scripture can correlate to every revelation that's going on to this day.
Absolutely.
Right.
To this day.
Oh well, I was gonna take it back off of y'all. Y'all to move to Jesus, but hey, we love the Lord. I was just gonna say, it's when y'all were talking about that people don't like to be the minority thing. I think for a lot of times let's just be real, white people really have never had to be the minority for a lot of things.
Not here.
So yes, 100%. Here. That's what I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, so it's easier for
they're more than I was just saying more than white people in the world.
I'm just saying for Black people here or Hispanic people, it might be easier for them to stand up for certain things because they're already used to being a minority. Like we're already used to not being liked, so it really doesn't. I feel like it affects. Not that it affects them more, but just differently because we're used to it. So I feel like for them, it's something kind of new. Now to being the minority is new to them. And for us, it's not as new. So we are more I'm just saying, the white folks.
They ain't not finna be no minority.
That's what I'm saying. So it's easier for them to not stand up, but it's easier for Black people to stand up or minorities to stand up because we're used to that. Yeah. We're used to being the minority, so to us, it's like we're the minority anyways. So we already felt that.
Well, they just being scary.
So it's easier for us to empathize because we've been there,
and we know what it is to be oppressed. We know what it is to, not me personally, but is to come from oppression and to experience the hardships of life. Mm-hmm. We know what that is, so we can sympathize and we can show compassion when we see other people going through that.
But as Black people, that means we gotta learn how to jump into the majority. We gotta learn how to jump out the bucket. We can't in certain situations.
And white people, you need to get yourself together and you need to do your work.
And I hate to say it, but
stop being scary.
Nelly and all them, they jumped out the bucket to the majority. And look at them now.
And we can't be mad at them.
They jumped out the bucket, but they're still the minority.
I understand, but
I hear what he's saying.
We can't blame the minority. Or we gonna lose because it's not.
We never go.
When it's time to buck up, sometimes we just gotta buck up and shoot for it.
And sometimes, like Morgan said, we used to not being liked, and I'm saying yes. Before we can have people like us, we had to first like ourselves. We got to first like ourselves.
That's why white people are scary though, because they don't like themselves.
That's right. So, and that I'm always fix what you can fix first, and you could always fix you.
Yeah,
that's good.
Church.
Well, I think that we're at an hour now. Hour 3 minutes.
That is the last statement.
So we'll table it to next time for that. And I know this was a big conversation. I know we threw out terminology like white folks, Black folks, and I know that's unpopular.
We don't have many, really.
But, I can't understand with too many conversations.
No, go ahead.
I didn't say nothing, so go ahead.
All right, so we understand we threw out a lot of terminology tonight that makes it sound like we're taking sides, and there's a us and there's a them because we use words like us and them. But this is all to spark healthy conversations. Right. A lot of that was us seeing ourselves, and there's a lot of seeing the other side. So this is it's healthy. It's not debate, but it's healthy conversations that's had in love, hoping that we can move forward as a society, as a country, as a people, as a nation to move forward.
Race, right.
Yeah, because y'all, I'm sorry, but it to me, and I tell my husband and my children this all the time, it's tiresome. When I tell you it is tiresome, it is tiresome to get on these social media platforms and see this side against this side and this conversation against this conversation. It's just really, really tiresome. And I don't, when it is a us and a them, it is a us and a them. So when we go make it us and not a them, or we, and get rid of the division type words, and we come together and unite it all. And that's the purpose of these conversations. There's conversations that need to be had. So that's just my little 2 cents.
All right. Well, until next time, we'll try to get the topic out there next week. But please continue to drop your comments.
Yes.
Please continue to show something or like with your comments so we can talk about them next week. All right?
Absolutely.
Until then, we love you. And that's it for My Turn, My Truth this time. And we'll see you next week.